Please stay tuned and let's find out how say Julius passed away on the 30th of January 2025.
Not knowing that time, 6 o'clock, he had locked himself in his bed for the last time. When I conversed with his doctor, Dr. Tona, he told me of the moments leading up to his passing. Today is a day we knew was coming, but we never picked this date. It came upon us so fast. 28th of January, we were in our cabinet. Rather, 29th of January, we were in our cabinet. It was around 6 o'clock in the evening, and a paper that was presented by Minister Chechenko was a paper on our 50th anniversary moment. And in that paper, I was quite emotional up front as I talked about the sacrifices of the past. And we were hoping that Sir Julius would be with us right through the 50th year. Not knowing that time, 6 o'clock, he had locked himself in his bed for the last time. When I conversed with his doctor, Dr. Tona, he told me of the moments leading up to his passing. A great leader that chose to go out in his own way. He called his PEC to his village. On Tuesday the 29th, he had his last PEC. Tuesday the 28th, rather. On Wednesday the 29th, he woke up very early in the morning, had his breakfast, was jovial, spoke to his doctor, I am okay. They sat right through around 12 o'clock at his house. He called his doctor, his party secretary, and his son, Toya, looked out to the yard, talked about the yard in front, how beautiful it was, and where he'd like to be in the sunset and the days that was going to be. And he sent them off and said, we meet at 6 o'clock. It wasn't to be so. At 6 o'clock, when they checked his room, he was lying in his bed. Humanly speaking, they tried to resuscitate him all night long into the morning. And he did not come back to life. The doctor made the pronouncement at midday. But he was a man who lived his life that us here today can learn from and try to emulate. 57 years of unbroken public service. 57 years of unbroken public service. From the moment he became member for Namatanai in 1968 in the House of Assembly, to the moment he stood at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium with Sir Michael Thomas Sumare, and to see the Australian flag lowered on 15th of September 1975 and to be passed back to Australian administration, and to the morning of September 16th, 1975, standing with Sumare to see PNG's flag hosted up for the first time at our Independence Hill. Since then, unbroken, including the 10 years he was out of office from 1997 to 2007. Yet, even out of office or in office, perseverance, dedication, commitment, and service to PNG above self was Sir Julius. A character that depicts the Sumare generation, the Sir Julius generation. They were still young men in their 20s and 30s, early 30s. Sir Julius was 29 when he was a member, 1968. Sumare was 30, in his early 30s, if I'm not wrong, in 1968. Still in their 30s together. One 36, another 39 when they birthed this country at 1975. What an example to many of our youths who are running around this country thinking that they cannot give much to our country. Yet, the fathers of our country at 1970s were youths themselves who foresaw this country and birthed this country into one sovereignty. And I want to pay my greatest respect on behalf of Rachel and my children, but more importantly on behalf of the entire 850 plus language groups in our country. I want to say thank you very much to the children, to Lady Stella, and to the people of his immediate clans. I see my brother Walter's mama, the Boss Mary Block clan you see now on his staff, and to everyone from Huris upwards, Namatanai, thank you for lending him to the service of our country called Papua New Guinea. We can never replace his life, but the best gift our generation can give is a gift of continued service, just like Sir Julius has given to his country. Something he teaches us is service to the grave. Once you choose public life, it is service to the grave. Whether elected or not, it is service to the grave. I often wonder why is it that he is still hanging on into office. As someone very close to him too, in my own way, I was privileged to be endorsed as his candidate in 2002. Myself and Rachel will walk into the JST office in 2001. In the 5th Parliament, I was associated with the People's Progress Party. In 2002, I was his candidate. And I often wonder, as I look back, as I became a politician myself under the hand of Grand Chief Sumara in 2007, I wonder why he hanging there, and why he continued to hang in there, even at the cost of his own life. Because he was a man of advanced age. He died at 86. In his 80s, he's still in public service. It should awaken the conscience of my generation of Papua New Guinean that once into office, you are serving for life. You have no choice. You have detached yourself and divorced yourself from private life, and you're a public servant now. These were the fathers of our country who sacrificed self above others, service above self, and rendered everything they had to the cause of this country. I want to say thank you to the family. Thank you to the people of New Ireland Province. Thank you to those who he has worked with, department heads, public servants, political advisors, the People's Progress Party, and everyone else who have associated with him in the 57 years he has been in public office. To our diplomatic partners, I do acknowledge your presence here. You have been with us since Sir Julius and Sir Michael lifted the PNG flag for the first time in 1975. To the second Prime Minister of our country, the first Prime Minister of our country, the first Finance Minister of our country, who clearly entrenched central bank's independence, who bettered this country's currency, who was the architect of business as a co-partner to government and public service in our country. May his memory live on and on forever. I am reminded in closing of a fish species called the Pacific salmon. Pacific salmon always travel back to the place of their birth to pass on. They may swim hundreds and thousands of miles from the place of where they were birthed, but at the sunset of their life, they always travel back to the place of their spooning for them to pass on in life. Sir Julius was a person of public service, but at the time he knew he was passing on, he reconciled with his family, he reconciled with his PC, he reconciled with his country, he reconciled with the spirit of his ancestor, he reconciled with his God, and he went back to the place of his bed to be finally rested. Sir Julius, I read to you the promise of Revelation 22 verse 12. For when God, Jesus, comes back the second time, reward is conferred to those who serve to their best. And to the family, I don't know what words to comfort, but I draw from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 16 that said, for those who died in the Lord, we will see life at the resurrection. That is the clearest distinction between the Christian faith and every other faith. In the words of the Maker Creator himself, those who die in the Lord will see life and be resurrected back to life. To the family in tears, I can point you to no other place but to the feet of Jesus, because there's a great union waiting those who die in the Lord. I invite each and every one of you to our house cry this evening at the Sir John Guy's Indoor Stadium, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. As a country of customs, as Melanesians, when a high chief has fallen, we mourn. We would have rather liked to keep him for a long time to mourn, but he is a man of words, and his words prescribed these transactions that is taking place, and the country will render to him a night of mourning as we go through in our nation's capital. And I invite each and every one of you to please join us from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock tonight at St. John Guy's Stadium. God bless Sir Julius. May you rest in eternal peace. You are gone for this moment, but your memories and your legacies will live on. Thank you very much.